Hello, lovers. Hi, hi, hi. How are you? Okay, make sure that this is working. I hope everybody is seeing me, right? Let's pull up the YouTube just to make sure that YouTube is on point. I am so excited about this interview right now. You do not even. I have been wanting to do interview for the longest time, and yeah.
Everything I did for him, and no matter what, nothing.
Some ad. Skip ad. Okay, good. We're live, we're good. And then goodbye. So, I know it is possible that people are just coming in and out, but this is not like Hello Lovers Live. And I don't want to take forever because then this interview will last forever and you're not going to watch it. And I do not want that. So, welcome back. Welcome back to WAI ASKS. WAI ASKS, the live interview series. I really wanted to do this month, or well, this series right now, because I want to connect with other Asian/Asian American or AAPI YouTube tarot creator or tarot tubers. And I was so thankful when I did the Stop Asian Hate live video last week. Nee from the Immaterial Garden show up, and she was commenting during that live and brought up a lot of questions and point of view that I am super intrigued about, even Asian to Asian. And I asked her, would you be interested in doing the interview? And she agrees. So, I mean, hello, welcome. So, without further ado, here we are. Please welcome a round of applause, yelling whatsoever. Here we are.
Must have been different.
What? Hi.
Hello. It is I.
It is I, the Nee.
The Nee.
So much. Oh my God. How are you
Thank you so-
today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm like super excited. I always get a little nervous before I'm live anywhere, but I think we're gonna have a really good time. And I really appreciated, man, I really love that live stream you did. I felt like it was very thoughtful. And for me, who was kind of like feeling a little bit uncomfortable, not really sure about my own feelings about everything that's happening, it was very inspiring. So thank you so much for giving me that feeling empowered to be able to like say something.
Thank you. And I'm so glad, so glad that you kind of did a VR or whatever, is in response to.
Oh yeah.
And it's so touching, so brave, so in the moment. I think when people in general are in the moment, the truth came out. And you were so in the moment, and I saw the hurt, I saw the hesitation, but I also saw bravery, and there's an emergency to it, like getting out of it, so that whatever that means for you or for the universe, at least your word is out there, and now it's out there, which is you don't know how that will affect people, but at the same time, it has profound effect, I think.
Yeah.
Whoever get the chance to see it. So I highly recommend you who are watching right now, go over to Miss Nee's channel, the Immaterial Garden, and there is a beautiful in response to the Stop Asian Hate movement right now, and it's just watch it. Trust me, just watch it. Okay.
I promise after all that, you won't be disappointed. Do you know what the fucked up thing is? Like, some people dislike that video, and I wanted to be like, if you dislike that video, go get the F out.
I'm telling you, I was like, on my Stop Asian Hate video, there was dislike also. And I was like, okay, we have racists everywhere. I understand that. But I wonder if the dislike is like general people, like, oh, just saw that,
Yeah.
oh, it's within the tarot community.
I don't know. See, I hope it's not within the tarot community, but you can never be too
But who
sure
knows?
about anything.
Who knows, right? But like that's it. We put it out there. You be you, I be me. They need to be whoever they need to be.
We're probably like, I need more tears.
Gouging eye and no, you don't. Speaking of which, this is Ni's website, which is also listed on the description down below. Have all the information. Apparently, she does this. I don't want to mixtape. It's kind of like
Playlist.
playlist. Well, for me, I'm an old school, mixtape. And so, when do you do it? When do you do your playlist on your Spotify?
Oh, usually, okay, whenever there's major transits, I try to do that. I do that for each of the astrological seasons. I made one for Aries. I'll make one for Taurus later on. And some of the major transits, like I made one for full moon in Libra, which is going to happen on the 28th. So, and for that, I just try to pick up on the energies that I feel like are going to be relevant for that time period. Mm-hmm. So I like to use music as a different way to communicate the same types of messages that I would communicate on my channel via my readings or my astrology sort of information.
And what do you want your followers or, in general public get out of it by listening to that?
Hopefully to, sometimes we talk about concepts and we become disconnected from them because they're so intellectualized. Using the music is a way to understand a concept in a way that you can feel it in your body. You can have an emotional response to it. When you're listening to music, you can kind of get that sense of that energy behind it. Mm-hmm. And that's understanding that energy in a different way. I just think that's very helpful because it makes astrology more real in our everyday lives, not necessarily something where it's like, okay, it's like I'm reading my horoscope, but what does that have to do with how I actually feel? What's actually happening,
Well, I mean, that's brilliant. I have to check it out because that was one of my struggle also, trying to learn astrology, and I'm like my moon and my chart and my degree over there, and I look at my chart and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So maybe if I just feel it, that's a better. Yeah. I am a feeler.
I would say as you, I think I definitely see that in you too. I feel like as you are thinking about each of the signs and stuff like that, try to think like, what's a song that goes along that reminds me of this? And I actually use the same method to teach myself tarot as well. So there were certain cards that I'm like, this reminds me of this song. So thinking about the song is so much easier than saying, well, what are all the keywords that go along with this? Because the feeling that the song makes me feel, it's naturally goes along with all those themes. So any way you can find to kind of trick yourself into making it enjoyable to learn. And music is wonderful when it comes to memory, because that's why they teach you your ABCs, and it's a song.
Right.
That's why it's like, I remember like commercial jingles from like 20 years ago that are still stuck in my freaking head because music.
Wonderful. Okay, so there are some people saying hi right now. Just want to.
Hello. Oh, I think I can go. Oh, I can see the comments here.
Hello, Amaze Tarot. Hello. Hi, Benabelle. Hey.
Well, Amaze Tarot says, isn't that like clairaudience? Well, clairaudience is more like as things are happening in a different location, you're hearing things or you're hearing communications. Mm-hmm. So not exactly the same, but you can definitely trigger clairaudient sort of sensations when you're listening to music as well, I think.
Wonderful. Okay, 9 minutes in, let's dive into this interview. I am so excited to get to know you. And as always, for my WAI ASKS interview, we always start with the rapid fire. So that's kind of like an easy way to warm up and just have fun. You know what I'm saying? So are you ready for the rapid fire?
I better be. Yeah.
You better be. Whatever comes out, from your head to your mouth, just get it out there. Okay. Number one, what is your astrology sign?
I am a Capricorn.
Hello. Boom, boom, boom,
Go
boom.
goats! What's up?
Right? When is your birthday, if you don't mind asking?
January 3rd.
January 3rd. Okay. Okay. We're 17 days apart, but this
Oh,
is
wow.
amazing. I'm January 20th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I think we're probably, I think I'm for a second decan. I think you're third decan Capricorn. So a little bit different. I think third decan is the one, it's got a lot of, is it Mercury energy. So it kind of makes sense that you really be into communication. And also you probably, when you're working, you probably work very hard, I'm going to guess. Like almost obsessively a little. You're like Britney Spears, you better work, bitch. Okay.
Once I am on it, I like,
the zone.
crazy. Like don't sleep crazy, like get it done.
Yes, do the same thing though. So.
Yeah, I'm like schedule it, put it on a calendar, get it ready, email, call people on the same time. It's crazy. It's like okay. Go back to rapid fire. Second question. What is your Chinese horoscope animal?
I had to look this up. I am a metal rooster, apparently.
Okay. I don't have a lot of rooster friends, by the way.
Oh, interesting. You should get more. We're great. No, just kidding.
It's fabulous. Thank you. And okay, number 3. What is your Patronus, or what animal describe or connect you the most?
I think I will bring it. I have 7 animals that I work very closely with in terms of their energy. So they each represent like the 7 chakra system for me. So I actually have bat, crow, wolf, horse, cat, bee, raccoon, spider, and octopus.
Whatever that was, we'll hold that. We'll circle back. Talk about that 7 animal, because that is intriguing. As long as you say the bat and the Chinese symbol about the bat, the word about the bat, a whole genre of question over there. Okay,
I love that.
Keep going, right? Number 4. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food, oh my God, I love so much food. It's like hard to say. I think as of recently, I've been eating a lot of curry, like a lot of like Thai curry.
Yummy.
I like it. Yeah.
Gooey, comfort.
Yeah, kind of a little spicy.
Okay, red, green. What is red, yellow, or green curry?
It's the red. And I think it's the one with the pineapple. So is it called like Penang curry or I'm sorry, my pronounce.
Me neither. I just know that I like sometimes I like the green curry also, but mostly leaning into the red or the yellow.
Yeah. I like to eat primary colors too. So. Well, yellow's not one, but.
Okay, next, what is your favorite color? Since we were talking about color.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because it's not the one that I wear, but my favorite color in theory, it's nebula blue, which is basically like this very specific blue that if you look up a nebula, it's usually present in the nebula. And I don't know, I just think it's such a beautiful color.
If I don't want to look it up, would you say leaning towards lighter or darker?
Kind of like a little bit lighter, like an ethereal blue, almost like around a star or something where you see that little bit of blue.
Wonderful. And next, don't know if this is politically correct, but I think I can ask that question. Where were you born?
I was born in Busan, South Korea.
South Korea, wonderful. And where are you living now?
I live in Seattle, Washington.
Seattle!
Seattle!
One of my favorite city. One of my favorite all-time cities, Seattle.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it here. I've lived here I think it's been about 8 years now, maybe 10 years now. It's, I don't know. I love the vibe. I mean, as of late, it's been a little bit different just because of COVID and everything, but I have no regrets living here.
Wonderful. Okay. We'll circle back on that also about where you live or where you're from. We'll talk about that. It will be yummy. It will be offensive. It will be amazing. Do you have any pet peeve?
My pet peeve is bullies, but it also makes me realize that sometimes when I'm trying to defend people from bullies, I have to be careful not being a bully, if that makes sense. Because I'll be like, you're not gonna say that, you know, when I'm like, oh, really strong, and then I'm like, maybe I don't have to chew people out. You know?
As in bully in general, or more targeting in all circumstances?
Bully in general. So if I'm like out in public and I see like someone might be like hassling someone, or just it seems like they're being disrespectful, I'll just keep like creeping closer, like listening to what's going on, because I'm like, if anything's gonna go down, I'm not just gonna let someone feel like they're alone in that situation. But there have been periods where it's like one time I was in a gas station, and there was this dude, and he was like yelling at the guy behind the counter saying, we don't want people like you here and stuff like that. And I remember I was like, there were a bunch of people in the store. There were like these big guys in the store. And I just went up right to that dude. And I was like, leave that man alone. I was like, if we don't want someone here, it's you. And I remember getting this thing with this guy, but I remember by the end of it, this guy who like had come in so cocky, he just looked so like shamed, you know what I mean? Like just so like, I thought I was going to come in here and everyone was going to be okay with this. And it was obviously not like that, you know?
You're a warrior. You're a fighter.
I just can't take seeing other people. I just can't take seeing other people being hassled like that, because I know what that feels like. You know, if anyone, I feel like most of us, I feel like if you went through school at any point, you know what it's like to be bullied. So why would you ever want anyone else to go through that, you know, alone? I don't know.
Here, here. Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Probably, I flip between them. I would say tea nowadays, but it used to be coffee.
Wonderful. Do you have any tarot, as you say it, oracle playing card deck that you really want to buy next?
Okay, I'm trying not to buy any more decks. I have a hard limit and I've reached it. Yes, I see you. I see you. I would say if I was going to buy any deck, it would be the True Black Tarot, because the cards are just, oh my gosh, like serious. But every time I went to look at it, it was sold out. Probably for the best though, because it's expensive. I also think that the next thing I'm going to expand into is probably runes. So we'll see how that goes later.
I mean, True Black will be a good purchase because the creator is Asian. So.
Well, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But
you know what? You're not on. Are you on Facebook?
No.
No. Okay. So I because you know I am a tarot-holic. Let's just put it that way. So I belong. Why not me? What? Who? Never. Just, whatever. So I belong to a lot of reselling groups. So if I saw anyone that is selling for the True Black at a reasonable price, I will say, hey, let me help you out. So
you're enabling me, my sickness, my addiction. You're like, you don't get out of this.
I just want someone to walk side by side with me. How about that? Not enabling or anything, just walk side by side with me. That's a good way to put it, you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Okay, so now we kind of get to know the bubble of Miss Nee here. Let's dive into something a little bit deeper. Should we let's go with the animal right now. So
okay,
we have 7 animals. Not slowly, individually, kind of give us the idea of what the 7 animals is all about.
Yes. So I wanted to create some sort of connection to the 7 chakras. So I think I connect very well with animals, and I thought that that would be a good way to represent each of the chakras to sort of understand them better. So I chose each of the animals based on something that I connected with that specific chakra, and I'll explain it very quickly. The other thing I wanted to say is, if you notice, all the animals that I have chosen, they work both good solitary, but they also work very well in groups as well. So I wanted to specifically pick social animals to represent the connection, that I have a connection to my energy, to my chakras, but that actually also connects me to everything else and everyone else, right? So for the, I'll go in this order. For the base chakra, I picked the raccoon because the base chakra is all about survival. It's all about, being resilient. It's all about security and, being able to feed yourself, being able to survive. And I think raccoons are the epitome of that. I also chose the B for the sacral chakra because the sacral chakra is about, our sacred sexuality, our creativity, our sort of, the buzz of life. So I kind of feel like that was appropriate. I chose the cat for the solar plexus chakra because the cat is so independent and it knows how to value itself and take care of itself. I chose the horse for the heart chakra because horses are actually very communal animals. They feel empathy, they protect each other, but also it's a power there. It's a power that you can harness or that can be very out of control and unstable. So unharnessed power is like it's like the horse that won't be broken sort of thing. All right. I also chose the the heart. For the throat chakra, I chose the wolf because, of course, the wolf howl. But also, I feel like wolves really know how to follow their instincts in a way that seems rational, though. So, even though it seems like wolves, they follow that hierarchy instinctively, it also accounts for things like making sure that they're not overbreeding, making sure that there is stability in the pack, that sort of thing. So that was really important because what is the point of speaking your truth? It's not just to, be vain. It's not just to, it's to share with other people so that we can all communicate, get along, and come together. I chose the crow for the third eye chakra because there's a lot of association between the third eye and the crow, Game of Thrones or whatever, but also because it is using the intelligence along with that intuition to make sure that you're making good decisions or that you are not being led astray accidentally. Sure. And then I chose the bat for the crown chakra because bats have echolocation, they have sonic, sonar. So even in the dark, even when there is no sight, they can still see. And that is for me the ultimate representation of the crown chakra, because that's about your connection to the immaterial, the connection to the energetic and spiritual, which are things that you have to see with energetic eyes, but you can't necessarily see, in, with your regular eyes, I guess.
Is that why you chose how you chose your channel name, the Immaterial Garden?
Oh, the Immaterial Garden. I don't know. I was just trying to think, I wanted to build a space where it was representing a place where people could come, feel comfortable, feel respected, and they could grow energetically and perhaps emotionally. And I felt like the immaterial garden was perfect for that because we're talking about our immaterial or our spiritual gifts, our energy. That's the sort of things that we can feel their presence, but we can't necessarily touch, that they're not manifested necessarily. And I want to remind people that inside of themselves, they carry this immaterial garden, this place, this space of abundance, this place of life, and you have to cultivate that internal garden because otherwise, I don't know, I just bring so much beauty and so much, just a lot of good things into your life, I guess.
I like it. I like it a lot. Like in some way that is so pronounced in material, right? Because this now talking about buying stuff. Mine will be the material garden. The material garden, horrifying.
No, if anything, I think that I'm just the type of person, sometimes we do look at like material things and we're like, oh, this is, not as good as, or I don't know, not as deep as the material, whatever. But, sometimes like if you're the type of person, for instance, sometimes physical objects hold sentiment. We overlay our sentiments into them. So a lot of the time, it's not so much about that specific object, that thing itself. It's about what it represents to you, what it connects you to. Would it be silly to, it's not silly, for instance, to like have something that someone gave you, that someone who you love, and that thing is precious to you. But it's not because of the physical object; it's because of what it represents to you. So, I don't think we have to be hostile towards the material world, but it is keeping that balance between the two.
Here. This conversation is getting deep as we proceed further about everything. Honest to goddess up there, I am genuinely surprised.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
genuinely surprised because okay, this is horrifying to say, but like there is this like there is a sense of knowledge, like deep, developed knowledge as you speak.
Oh,
Like you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. And it feels like whatever you learn, you passionately believe in it. It's different from I need to learn it because I need to be on YouTube.
oh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I need to learn it because I am a tarot reader. I need to be legit, you know, so I need to back my shit up or whatever, right? But like for you, like whatever you just said, it's really like theater for me. It's not just because I want
I
to be
love it.
famous or whatever. Well, I want to be famous, but it's not that I want my hands and my mind, everything. Like I dive into it so
Yeah.
that I can, you know, grow as a person and using that skill to benefit the greater. And tarot is kind of my second why.
That's how you relax.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Talking about what is passionate, what do you wish for the most throughout your journey right now?
Would you say like for myself or in general, like
Let's do for yourself first, and then through maybe for yourself through your YouTube, through your teaching, through your playlist or whatever, you know, whatever you're doing, you're in hope to what?
Well, I would say for myself in relation to my channel, I would say hoping that it is actually useful to someone, hoping that it's not just about telling people what they want to hear or about being popular. It is about trying to share these experiences, these insights, everything that I have to offer to others because I think they deserve it. I think because I went through a period where life was very confusing, and it's very easy, especially during that time, to get the wrong advice or to, you know, get pulled in by people that are really just trying to use you, that sort of thing. The intellectual, philosophical, and spiritual tools that I want to give to others is so that they can protect themselves against those that will try to exploit them, but at the same time give them a sense of control or a sense of autonomy over their own journey. Okay, just because I know, you know, it's lonely. It's lonely, and there is no field guide. There is no manual. I just, for the most part, I want to, even if I, you know, I don't have all the answers. I don't have a quick fix. I don't have a miracle, you know. What I do have is just a sincere desire to connect with other people and to let them know that we really are on this journey together, and we can make it hell or we can make it heaven. We have to choose what we're going to do now. Okay. I don't know. And also that people won't be mean to me.
Standing ovation, thank you. And we're done with the interview. That's
Goodbye.
No, we need to talk about this because that was beautifully said. Beautifully said. Because so much of it I have to think about my channel also. Like what is the message that I'm sending out? You know, my core value is bringing happiness and
you do a very good job of that, I do have to say. You make me smile every time.
And that was my main goal, because I don't think my journey in tarot is quite deepened enough to give advice or whatever. So I wouldn't mind doing in-person reading, so that is more direct, because that is easier, because I focus instead of what you do, which is like an overall you know guidance, because I don't know if I genuinely don't know if I can tap into that quite yet.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, on top of that, part of that is just I try not to do personal readings. Like I purposely am not doing them anymore, just because for me it's a little too intense. I feel like I get a little too wrapped up in that person's energy. It's just, I just don't feel like it's as helpful, because I feel like sometimes, and I'm not, this is not like a humble brag, but I feel like as a reader, if you have any bit of charisma whatsoever, people will do transference where they're like, now I'm obsessed with you. And it's like, please don't be obsessed with me. Be obsessed with yourself. Be obsessed with the message, be obsessed with your growth.
It is true, though. It is very true. It is very true. When they hear and when they agrees with you, and you kind of have that moment, and they are, oh my God, I need to come back, and which I'm gladly think so, because I in some way, if the guidance can make sure that they don't sabotage themselves, and that's all there is. As my journey growing up, being an Asian American, being an immigrant in Hong Kong, in America, there's so much. It's still today, girl, even right now, at this age, at this point in my life, I still do so much self-sabotaging and self-hatred, and it's not like horrifying, like, oh my God, you're so horrible. There's like little voices here and there, like, you're not worth it, you're imposter, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's always, we are all human. We all have.
It's just enough to spoil it for yourself, right? To spoil being able to enjoy what you're doing, to, fully immerse yourself in it, because you have those anxieties that are trying to build a separation between you and connecting with that state of connecting with the thing, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? We all want to talk about, we seek happiness, seek happiness. But in some way that I feel like I can be happy because I can't be in the moment. And that's one of the biggest struggle I have as YM. I'm always in the moment when I'm performing.
Yes.
It's a weird thing. Like, I feel good when I'm right now in quote unquote performing, because I'm not like that 24/7. If I'm like 24/7, then I've achieved the goal or whatever. Or when I'm on stage, then I'm like very in the moment. But then when the camera comes off, nobody's around, and I'm a little quiet. I need to find the right balance. Do you feel lonely?
Do I feel lonely? Sometimes, but I feel like I felt a lot lonelier when I was younger. I feel like as I get older, it's kind of like cultivating a sense of aloneness, which is kind of something that, I don't know, I feel like you have to be comfortable with your own company, because until you're comfortable with your own company, it's like, I don't know, it's just, I just feel like you'll always feel like an imposter. That's the thing. I feel like I'm very familiar with that imposter syndrome, feeling like, am I faking it until I make it sort of thing, or is this really me? But I think I totally lost where I was going with that.
Well, I'm gonna leave you back in, like, about the imposter syndrome. I don't know your upbringing, which we'll get into. For my upbringing, it is, especially coming to America, learning about the American dream, quote unquote, and that saying, oh, you just have to fake it till you make it. I can't dance. No, you're still gonna go to that dance audition. You're gonna make a fool out of yourself because you're gonna get yourself in the door. You can't act. You're gonna pretend that you're gonna act. You fake it till you make it. And such a big. That's my teen year. Like, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. And then you create that persona. I know what I'm doing, and but deep down, the emptiness is still there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying there. Also, it's just I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That sounds like something you have to really deeper, investigate deeper. It seems like you're being invited to do that. I feel like in terms of, maybe it's because in some ways, life really is a lot like a performance or acting. And not to say we're performing for other people, but I mean, you could say I don't know, we're performing for an unseen observer. We're performing for God, possibly. You know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe for you, it's it's not really so much a disconnect between when you're performing and when you're not performing. I feel like it's easier for you to focus on the performance, though, when you're specifically on stage. But in the performance of life, maybe you feel a little more like, what's my motivation? What's my direction? Or what's my stage direction, right?
Tell me, what is my motivation? What should I do? Goodness. Um, let's talk about your upbringing.
Okay.
You are born in South Korea,
Mhm.
and then you are adopted. You were adopted.
Yes, I am adopted. I guess, you never stop being adopted once you're adopted. So I'm adopted. Yeah, I was adopted when I was much younger. I think it was like 1 when I was adopted. It took until I was 2 to have the adoption finalized, and I came to the United States when I was 4.
Okay.
I think it's pretty basic. Especially if you're adopted from Korea, especially during the time I was adopted. Because you have to remember, I'm like 39, so things have changed since then. But they usually send like a caretaker with you, and then your parents meet you at the airport. One thing that I found out that I thought was kind of brilliant and kind of messed up, right, is they told me that when I was younger, when I was in the orphanage, they had a picture of my adopted parents, and they would show me the picture every night about, for months before I met them, telling me, this is your mom, this is your dad, almost like brainwashing you. Like, don't be afraid of these white people. Sorry.
I do understand that point of view in a way that it's less traumatized.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, but sometimes I wonder what's that effect, with a child where it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like weird. I just kind of feel like it's definitely to make it less jarring, but at the same time, I also feel like it's I don't know. It feels weird to be like to think that you were programmed in some way, if that makes sense. I mean, we're all programmed, but in that case, it was a little. I don't know. Well, anyway, I ended up. My parents, they were. I don't see. Sometimes I'm like afraid to share my adoption story because it's not the happiest. Mm-hmm. Like my parents, when they adopted me, I'm pretty sure that they were trying to save their failing marriage, and when I was when I was growing up, basically my mom was an alcoholic. She was abusive. One time she told me that the reason she adopted me was because she had a best friend when she was growing up who was Korean, and she told me that she wanted a best friend who could never leave her. It was not a very easy situation. I came from a very combative household. And I would never say that if you are someone who truly loves children, who truly wants to love a child, I feel like I encourage you to adopt a child, even, international adoption, whatever. But just be careful the attitude that you bring a child into the home, because it can be very, I don't know, no child should be expected to be a miracle worker in a situation that is toxic. Right?
Absolutely not. Do you still talk to your parents?
No, I am. Well, actually, my mom passed away about 13 years ago. Okay. My dad, I'm estranged from him. In the situation, my mom was very abusive and my father was neglectful. So basically, my father spent a lot of time outside of the household at work so that he wouldn't have to deal with her.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Woo, girl.
Get a little heavy. Woo.
Woo, girl. Well, since we are leaning into that direction, let's lean into it even more.
Okay.
Do you recall the first moment or the first few moments that you are different? Your skin color or your family structure that are different from
I would say that my family did a pretty good job of sheltering me from kind of being like, oh, I'm different, that sort of thing. But I think it was like the first time I went to school, like the first day of school, I just realized that, and children realize they're not trying to be mean, but they realize that there's differences in how you look. So that was like the first time I was really aware that I didn't look like everyone else. But also, when I was growing up, my parents were pretty well-to-do during that time. So I was, the schools that I attended when I was much younger were basically just mostly white children. You know what I mean? So it kind of stuck out to me. Then later on in my life, I went to public school, like maybe during like elementary school. And that's when I started getting teased a lot. And that's when I realized, oh shit, apparently I am different.
Was your family household religious? Believe in anything? Catholic? Christian?
Yes and no. So both of my parents, my mom was Ecuadorian and my dad was New York Italian. So both of them were Catholic. So I kind of got chosen as like the family representative to be like our spiritual representative because I realized they would drop me off at church, they would drop me off at Sunday school, but they would pick me up later. And I'd be like, how come I gotta pray for everyone?
So would you say your upbringing was Christian, Catholic?
It was Catholic for a long time. About the time when I was supposed to get confirmed, I refused to get confirmed because I did not really believe in the Catholic faith.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of my problems with the Catholic faith had to do with their policy of exclusion. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't feel like I felt like any spiritual group that I was a part of, I didn't want them to reject other people just based on things like being gay, based on things like, I don't know. I don't like that exclusion shit. That doesn't make any sense with God and spirituality to me. I don't know.
That's a TV. No, that's a T-shirt for you. I don't like that exclusion shit. Send it out there, print it. Thank you.
I give you all rights.
I will buy it in the back, the Immaterial garden. Done. Okay, so then I wonder, I don't really care about when, but what about how the transition from quote unquote Catholic faith into you don't agree with some of the shit that, presented to more where you are right now?
Well, I would say in a spiritual sense, I actually, for a long time, I broke with religion. I was pretty militantly atheist for a while. I went through a period of my life where I just didn't want any relationship with spirituality or with God. Later on, I discovered neo-Gnosticism, which is basically like, there's two forms of Christianity. There is what is it called? Orthodox Christianity. There's also Gnostic Christianity. Gnostics, they were actually burned as heretics, but they actually empowered, for instance, women to be equal within the church. They actually believe that all salvation, all the secrets, all salvation, all spirituality is already within you. It's like a seed within you. You have the tools to cultivate and unlock it, but you don't need anyone else to tell you to forge that relationship with the spiritual or with God for you. You have the right to have a direct relationship with God, and you have a right to your spirituality in a way that isn't meant to dominate or isn't meant to program you. I don't know.
Yes, completely makes sense.
And then and I have dabbled with some other things like Wicca. I've done. I was actually a black magician for a while. I actually was recognized as an adept black magician in the Temple of Set, which is a left-hand path organization, which were basically like the founders of the Church of Satan that split off very early from the Church of Satan. I've put a lot of effort into understanding spirituality, and not just from the love and light, right-hand path sort of mentality. I've tried to look at it from all different angles. And what I realized is that I really appreciate how left-hand path philosophy and doctrine can actually help you to become more grounded and more empowered in the sense of being an individual. But what I realized is what was lacking for me was that feeling of service. And I do link a feeling of service with my spirituality. So, okay. Woo, take a seat, take a moment.
Okay, you took a breather. I'll tell a little story. Last weekend, I was doing a tarot reading for a couple of my friends. And one of her friends gave me one of those out of print tarot deck. And it was, I can't say it. What is the dude? Start with a B. BAP. Yes.
Okay.
that deck, Baphomet Tarot or whatever, that is like super out of print, only the majors only. I was like, what? How did you get it? And this is like, I was a black witch before.
You're like, oh.
And then he's like, I am not a witch anymore. Oh, I step away from whatever, I don't know what is the right term, the coven or whatever from that life because
Oh
it was
yeah.
powerful. Yeah. So that has just been collecting dust, and I think you can have it.
You should. What are
I
you
know,
doing?
and I want to have it.
Oh my
So
god.
she was like, I work with Lilith, and it was just too much for me, and like strange things are happening, and I just couldn't
Did
do.
you get a haunted deck?
I don't know. I haven't worked with it yet. I'm just like, you are belonging to my collector's section. I don't know if I will ever work with you, but you're very pretty. In the right time, in the right, people around me. When I know more about that, then maybe.
It might be a good deck. One thing, a couple interesting things about Baphomet. First of all, when you hear "as above, so below," that's actually what that the symbolism of the fingers up and the fingers down is. That's as above, so below. Baphomet also is a gender neutral figure because Baphomet actually has both feminine and masculine qualities. So, but also it can be seen as a demonic energy as well. So you kind of have to look at it. But ultimately, maybe that is something for you to explore. Also, how are you so good at getting people to be like, you know what, you're just so here, take this deck, take this ultra rare deck.
I think it's my aura. It's my. It just, and I have to say, in the strangest way, like when I first getting into collecting, I learned about all these out of print deck, and I was, I really want to get it. I want to get it, and of course it's like $600 or whatever. And then I would be,
Oh.
am my back?
It's the deck.
Oh no! It's
put a ring of salt around it.
We'll be back. Okay. I think we're back. Okay. Ooh, girl. Ooh. But I just kind of believe I'll get it, and then I'll forget it, and it will come to me. It will literally come to me.
That's straight up like you're doing unconscious magic. I promise you. You're like, I think about it, I focus on it, then I let it go, and then it happens. That's freaking manifestation. Congratulations, you're a natural.
It is so strange too. Like when and it's always come in a batch kind of way. So then I'm okay. I'm like, well, this is out of print. I'm out of luck, and I would not focus on that, but I will keep buying other deck, and then all of a sudden, like the resale group will drop all, like my list will just pop. I'm like, that's one of my deck. That's one of my deck, and we'll just keep on going. Like it's quite crazy. So I'm.
Yeah.
Thank you, tarot god or manifestation person, whoever.
I believe that there's going to be a reason why you have all those decks. You're going to figure out the perfect way to present them. One thing I was actually thinking about that I thought might be fun, and maybe you might enjoy too, I wanted to do something like tarot theater. So I wanted to take a deck and pull out all the court cards. Each of those court cards is a character. Then as you pull the cards, you tell the story of how these characters interact, where they're going, what's happening. You could almost do it very dramatically, like a soap opera almost. You could also do it just very like matter-of-factly, like just learning these people's everyday lives.
Clock on that. Copyright. More episodes coming to you soon. Okay. Since we were talking about, this might take 6 hours, so this interview, talking about the black magic, that whole, how did you get into it? Why did you leave? I'm more interested in the, how did you get into it?
Yes. So at the time I was married, and my husband at the time, we were both really into just learning weird shit, to be honest. I've always been very curious. I've had an active interest in the occult, in spirituality and magic, ever since I was younger. This was an organization that he was actually doing research on, and he wanted to join, basically because they are one of the few organizations that focus on basically preserving consciousness after death. Okay, that sounds a little kooky, but that was what the appeal was. So he had been talking about it for like a year, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write them. I'm gonna see if I can get in, because if I get in, then he's definitely gonna finally take the leap and do this thing, So I actually wrote them email, and I had a conversation with the director, and I ended up getting accepted. And then when I started my process into getting, learning their organization, he actually decided to apply, and then he got accepted like a month later. So that was something that we did together. So it was nice because at the time it was the intersection of both of our interests.
Mhm.
It was also I don't know. It was a lot different than I expected. So one of my first concerns was, well, is this an ethical organization? Like, are they doing terrible things to people, that sort of thing? And, the more I learned about them, the more I realized that it really is, they have a very strict code of ethics. It may not be the code of ethics that other people necessarily, they're not the default code of ethics, but they're kind of like Batman, it's like,
Sure.
they have ethics, morals, like rules and that sort of thing. So that was my primary concern. Aside from that, though, it was just a wonderful experience because I met actually a lot of very educated people. I met writers, performers, anthropologists, like a bunch of very interesting people. And it was very positive for me. But I was surprised that they accepted me, but I had wrote them just like a very genuine letter about my experiences with magic and my interest in the occult and that sort of thing. The recognition process usually takes about 2 years, and I actually did mine in 1 year when I was recognized. I would have stayed with the organization probably longer, but my husband at the time and I got a divorce. So I think it was more important for him to keep that community and to keep that spiritual sort of practice. For me, I was actually ready to kind of move forward because the truth was, as much as I felt validated there, I didn't feel like they were necessarily teaching me things that were beyond my capacity to understand myself. So that was basically why it ended. Anyway, that was very long. I was tell me one thing, let me tell you everything.
So would you consider you a witch?
No, I would not consider myself a witch. If I had to classify myself, I would say I'm a will worker.
Okay.
Meaning that, it's less about, because witch is a very specific term for me. I also think it brings in elements that are very, that have to do with can bring in elements of the natural world, can bring in elements that I love witches. I actually truly believe that modern witches are going to be one of the forces that truly brings change to bring us towards into the future. And we've seen that countless times, especially, I know as silly as it sounds on Instagram, but I stepped away from Instagram because I realized the power of Instagram and it actually scared me.
How? Why? What? Tell me.
Because you end up with so much influence, and people are just kind of hanging on your word. They're doing, they're buying all the decks that you're talking about. They're doing all these things. And for me, it kind of weirded me out a little bit because I was like, you should not trust my opinion. You should not trust anyone's opinion that much except for your own.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm always really nervous about this idea of knowing that to some degree, I'm a pretty, I think people do like my energy. They respond pretty well to it. But that also makes me realize I have to be very responsible with how I affect other people. That's a very important thing because otherwise it's not like I'm asking for any sort of influence, but once you have it, you have to be responsible with it. And for me, it was just too much. It's just.
I'm touched by it. I'm honestly touched by it because that's a lesson. That's a lesson that I need to learn also. Because of nowadays the chasing numbers, because the idea is if I chase the number or if I get the number, I will have a bigger influence, which I can spread more love, spread more laughter. But at the same time, there can be, like you said, there's a great responsibility there that if, who knows, oh my God, it's honest truth. Do you worry a lot on how you present yourself?
Yes, I do. And not because of the fact that I want to put on the illusion that I'm something that I'm not, but because I understand, the power of that we have over each other, how we interact with each other, the vibes that we put out. And I want to be more conscious and more considerate of other people, how I wield my energy, how I present myself, because in a lot of ways we take social cues, we take prompting from what we see and how we see people treat each other. So for instance, as a reader on YouTube, I do my absolute best to try to not to talk down to people, to try not to, basically like try to make people feel ashamed about decisions that they've made or anything else, because that sets the precedent for their relationships. For, if you let me treat you that way, if you let me treat you poorly, then you're probably letting other people in your life treat you poorly. I just think it's so important, if you're in the public eye, to set the precedence of what a healthy, respectful conversation or interaction looks like. Because for some people, they might not ever have an example of that. It's very, I don't know, I just feel like that's the power of social media, that we can set good examples for each other. That's not to say we should be phony or that we should be, fake, but it is to say that there's a version of each of us that is authentic to ourselves, but also considerate to other people. And that's the space that we should probably try to live. That's the space that I try to live. And especially when it comes to the public, because that's what I hope other people will emulate, not necessarily trying to, pick up parts of my personality or whatever. More than anything, I want them to feel that.
Here. Let's lean into the uncomfortableness that we have dived deep into the deeper, we get to know you as a person, and the not just what you see on screen, the way that you do your tarot, and your laughter always genuinely moved me, and I really appreciate that. I am intrigued, and I want to know about your struggle.
Oh yeah.
Being an adoptee, being an Asian, I'm sure you have experienced people just automatically project on you on the Asianness of, oh, you do tarot, Buddha, you work with Guan Yin, like who's your goddess, in media, right? Like, tell us a little bit about like the misconception or misconnection between your skin color versus your spirituality.
I think if anything, to some degree, it may actually, in this case, being Asian may actually serve me, because we have this stereotype of the mysticism of the East, what I mean? So in some ways, maybe it does work for me, because they're like, they don't want to question me, maybe, or they're like, you must have some sort of connection to your ancient ancestors that are feeding you, whatever. But I don't know. If anything, I just kind of, that's the one thing I have enjoyed about tarot. And I think it's partly because a lot of what I put into the tarot readings has to do more with like the correspondences, has to do with the actual like meanings. I don't know. I haven't seen like that much crossover. Although one thing I have seen is that sometimes people like, they want to like my subscribers, I freaking love them so much. But at the same time, sometimes it's like there are like little missteps. Like for one instance, like for once, how come when I serve the tea, it's got to be green tea? You know what I mean? Like, and someone actually puts like the green tea emoji. And I was the first time I was like, okay, that's fine. It's like, maybe they just, that's the only tea like symbol. But then this person specifically went back the next time and put like the frog with the tea. And I'm like, I get it. You're saying green tea, but why does that have to be what I'm serving?
There's only one tea you can serve, and it's green tea because you're Asian.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Aside from that, though, I've been lucky. I feel like many people probably do have that, they've had those experiences. For me, it's been pretty separate. But then again, I would say my version of reading tarot, it can get very dense. So I think a lot of people that might be like, want to heckle me, like they might lose interest really quickly.
I mean, at the beginning, when I went on your Instagram days, when I was following you, I don't want to say intimidated. It is a little dense because of the energy is coming across, and you do speak fast because you don't want to get it in, especially in those Instagram day. It was like a minute, whatever. Like
Trying to get it at the timeline.
oh, I'm I'm trying to listen, right? Do you personally struggle with also, since we talked about ancestors and everything, like
Mhm.
did you try to find out who your birth parents or your past or quote unquote past?
No, I have never attempted first, and there's different reasons why. So very beginning, it was because my adopted mom especially was very against me like asking questions or wanting to find my biological parents.
Mhm.
In fact, I remember when I was a child, she used to ask me, if your biological mother came back, who would you choose? And that's a very difficult question for a child. Later on, it became something more like, well, I don't know if it's realistic for me to be able to find them, because especially the agency that I was adopted through, they've closed down so far. There are actually a lot of laws, especially having to do with international adoptees from Korea, where a lot of the times those records will be sealed or they will be private.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is the question, later on, it was the question of, well, do they really want to find me? Like if they wanted to find me, they would have kept tabs on me.
Uh-huh.
And then later on, it was almost like, I did have a friend who he actually met his biological family because he took a DNA test,
Uh-huh.
and it turns out those people were terrible. So they ended up trying to like take him for money and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So there were a lot of reasons why I just haven't been motivated to find my birth parents.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, when it comes to the question of my ancestors, something that really helped me there, and I don't know if other like adoptive people, sometimes they're like, well, how the fuck am I going to connect with my ancestors? I don't know their faces. I don't know who they are.
Mhm.
But every day I think to myself, even if I don't know what the faces of my ancestors look like, I hope that I can still make them proud every day.
Mhm.
I hope that I can still bring some sort of healing or some sort of honor to whoever it is, the people that I come from.
Mhm.
And for me, that's enough. For other people, I would say, if you are even remotely wondering who your birth parents are, go try. Like, I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're not going to find them.
Mhm.
But for me personally, I just feel like they're still very, I just don't have the motivation, and it's very complex as to why.
Do you, you don't need to answer that if you don't feel comfortable.
Hmm.
Do you feel a sadness of not knowing though?
Not really. I did when I was younger, but I feel like also my whole idea of family, because of how I was raised, is kind of not the way other people think about family.
Mhm.
For me, a family is not necessarily a safe thing.
Mhm.
For me, a family is not necessarily a pleasant thing. So I think I don't know. I feel like any sadness really is replaced by the fact that in some ways it's almost better for someone like me, because I can almost imagine them any way that I want to, any way that and to some degree, it also, there is the one good thing about every adopted child who doesn't know what their background is. We all have the potential to be superheroes because we have no idea where we came from.
You moved me. Your answer moved me so vividly. After I lost my father, that's all I am obsessed about. Knowing my past,
Yeah.
badgering my mother. Tell me every single story, my father. Tell me every single story that how you two met. Any information, I need to write it all down. I need to understand it. Looking at his picture, doing the ancestor, magic or whatever that
Yes.
Benabel was, on her channel, look into the flame behind the mirror. I kind of see a reflection. I like so deeply trying to grasp onto it because I want to make them proud. I want to make them proud. That's what you just said. Completely opposite of you and I. I'm like, hold on to it so tightly, and you are. And the way that you said it's an awakening. Is what I do.
Yeah.
It's what I present myself. It's what I conduct myself. It's what I give to the society that matters.
Yeah. And I think one thing is, you know, if you think about it with your talents too, you know, you should interview your mom. You should interview like and collect all these stories. You could do this could be a huge project for you. I would totally watch you documenting, journaling, like this process of getting to know your roots, getting to know where you're from, honoring your father. I just want to say, like, I do remember, like, shortly after we met, you went through a very emotional period. You were going through a lot, and I wanted to say thank you so much for making me feel so invited and so included. I remember one time we talked a little bit, and you had told me that your sister had been You're the Snake, and that I reminded you a little of your sister.
Mhm.
And that's always touched me, and I always wished so much success for you. And you know, you are such a wonderful welcome wagon. You really do I mean, your energy is fantastic. You make people feel comfortable. You make people feel safe. I love that you can get a little off the cuff, but it's never offensive. You know, it just makes people feel good. And like, I am very honored to have met you. Like the best thing that came out of Instagram was meeting some of the most amazing creators and just good people.
I do agree. I do agree that I can get away with things because of how it's a survival skill that I learned from childhood. And I was bullied in Hong Kong also by Asian people. So
It's all the same.
and when you say about, racism and everything, like it's true everywhere. It's just different level of struggle and different level of hurts,
Yeah.
I was bullied in by Asian people in Hong Kong, and then bullied here by all the other race, or even Asian race, right? Because I'm an OB, fresh off the boat, and I have an accent and everything else. And
Yeah.
but the idea of learning how to be smart and little jab back is one of my survival skills. So I'm I'm glad you acknowledge that. Do you feel I'm sure that you went through a lot as a adoptee, all the bullying that I can possibly imagine. Regarding on bullying or survival, just whatever you want to tell us with your experience.
Oh yeah.
What about let's guide it a little bit more.
Okay.
What is the most hurtful experience or hurtful memories, or what you feel the most ache about?
Can I tell you, like, the funniest thing is, and I mean, there are different. I've experienced racism. I mean, I've had people like spit on me. Actually, I've had like they called me all sorts of names, chopsticks, ching chong, like whatever you want to say, like all throughout school and stuff like that. But the most hurtful thing actually came from another Asian person, and I had actually gotten a job working at I think it was a Taekwondo studio, and I was working with this Korean couple, and I was super excited because I am Korean, right? But I remember at the time, I like to color my hair or whatever. And I remember one time he looked at me and he looked at my hair and he was like, "Oh, you hate yourself as an Asian." And he's like, and he just made this observation, like very like, "Oh, you're a self-hating Asian." And I was like, ugh. And actually I was like, it pierced my heart, because to some degree he was right. To some degree I did feel uncomfortable with my own Asianness, and it was like he just saw right through me. But it was like one of these things where it's like, am I so transparent, so phony, so not how I'm supposed to be, that this person just like I don't know how to explain that.
It's true though, because I agree and disagree, because it in a way that it question your insecurity, right? And
Yes.
if you can just say, "No, I have you. I love being Asian. This is just my choice." Back the fuck up. Who the fuck are you, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, when you have that realization, like you said, it pleads through your heart, and you have to do some investigating about who you are. So, like, damn it, you fucker.
For the most part, though, it's like I don't. When it comes to racism, I have to be honest and say the thing that I'm most worried about is people like going aggressively out of their way to make me uncomfortable and to try to physically hurt me.
Mhm.
I mean, when it comes to, unless someone is like 24/7, I mean, there's ways you can harass people online that suck, that really do have a huge impact. It's not just like words, but it's like harassment.
Mhm.
That's not acceptable. But more than anything, I mean, I let snide comments roll off my back. I can be snappy, I can whatever. The one thing I don't want to live in fear that someone is always around the corner just waiting to like take me out. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I think
That's my main concern.
100% valid, because, and I feel like a part of my experience was that as getting to a point that I worry so much for my mother.
Yeah.
I worry so much for my mother. I'm like, I don't know who is gonna find out this is an Asian household and we're just gonna break in.
Yeah.
Like because of the madness. Sure, my mom has been called names, you know, at workplace, and you know, ching chang chang, you know, all these stuff that we have learned to kind of like.
That's kind of sad in itself that we've learned to be like, we've learned to just be like, this is probably the best we're going to get. But I feel like that's why we're so silent a lot of the time, because it's like, it's one thing when people are, you know, things that you can learn that you can deflect. But when it comes to like the threat of violence, that's something that we can't, there's nothing we can do against that except for be vigilant, except for show up for each other. And I will say this, if you get any threats or anything, I don't give an F. I will be there. I will be watching your house. I will be like, you know what I mean? Like, well, we got it.
Thank you. Like, it's mind-boggling that, because it's a different, I don't know how to explain it to people that doesn't experience that fear. It's a literally fear that you never experienced before, and you cannot control it because there's so much of it is relying on the other, right? There's only so much that I can do, and I learn what to do, how to deal with it. But at the same time, when you know that the society or the current climate is so viciously pointing at you, that fear is real. It's like rooted into all the news, all the nonsense, all the it's so ugly. But
a lot of it actually reminds, oh, sorry to talk over you.
Go ahead, you go.
I was going to say, a lot of it actually reminds me, though, I feel like it's weird because on a like more global sense or on a larger sense, I feel kind of similar to when I felt like as a child being raised in an abusive household.
Mhm.
It's the same sort of threat of violence where something doesn't always have to be happening in order to be subject to that threat or promise of violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you ever want to this is you don't have to answer that. Do you ever want to not be Asian?
Yeah, when I was younger, for sure. When I was younger, it was confusing for me because essentially, even though I am, you know, my genetics are Asian, I was raised basically like an upper middle class white person.
Mhm.
So it becomes very jarring when you've been taught something about your, you know, kind of identify because that's the way you're being treated in a certain way, and then you go into the context of the greater outer world, and then it's like, ooh, like, oh my gosh, like. I feel like I did pray when I was younger to be white.
Mhm.
And now I realize, you know, it makes me so sad. But what makes me happy is that the journey that I've been through, I've come to really love and accept, you know, who I am as a person.
Mhm.
But people should understand that the hardest part for people that it's like, aside from the fact that I am genetically Asian, it's like when people are racist towards me, especially when they're like calling me Chinese or they think it's like it's about politics and whatever, I'm like, you just have no idea how far removed I am from having any bone to pick in this. It's like being born with like a tattoo that says you're part of an organization and you're like, yeah, really, I don't know anything about this, you know?
That's good though. That's kind of
too
like,
honest. I don't know.
no, it doesn't automatically shield like ping. Oh well, like it's true though. I don't. I think yours is. It's so weird. It is so weird because when I asked that question, I thought to myself, have I ever want to be not Asian also? Absolutely. Absolutely. But the funny thing about it is also, like you said, is the experience.
Mhm.
It's the experience that force up on us, or not force up on us, but what we experience, right? If I was white,
Yeah.
then I would be so much easier in the dating world.
Yeah.
That's one of the problem that or not problem, one of the experience that I encountered when I was younger. Is
Mhm.
just so much like, if you're not white, you're not desirable.
Yeah.
And now things are changing with BTS and the yellow fever, whatever you want to call it, and it's feel like I'm more desirable. But at the same time, because the standard was white guy was the and
Mhm.
this is not, and I'm only appeal to certain demographic, and I just feel like, oh, if I was a white guy, then I'll be like, oh, I'll be so much better. But I don't know. The journey itself is mysteriously delicious if we know how to treasure it, how to
Yeah.
enjoy it.
And I don't want to I think that's a beautiful point. And it's like I feel like sometimes it's hard to say things like that because we don't want to be taken, or especially I don't want to be taken as like overly romanticizing racism and stuff like that, because the truth is it's horrible. It's like it's terrible, it makes you feel terrible. It makes you very sad, and it can be deadly. The truth is it can be deadly. But I mean, I think that's the only thing. It's like sometimes people, like, they don't always understand what is actual white privilege, and we can put all of this stuff on it, but white privilege is being able to abstain from the conversation and no one pulls you back into it. Because I can't just say, as an Asian person, as Asian presenting person, like, I can't just say I'm good. Like, pass.
Right. It's still gonna follow you around no matter what.
Because I am the conversation, right? We are the conversation.
It is true. It is very true. Oh.
The other thing I do want to say before we get too far, because it's getting up there, but I do want to say also that at the same time, it's like, it's not just Asian people. I mean, one thing that I realized is, remember, like, last year when we were like on Instagram, we were really pushing a lot of Black Lives Matter. We were like, I was following that tag. I was like keeping up to date with all of these things. And I realized that, in going through that process of being able to support Black Lives Matter, it actually just prepared us so much more for this moment to be able to speak up and to step up. And I am so proud, because I'm going to be honest and say, in the past, the Asian community, and I would say specifically calling out the Korean community, we have not shown up for people. The reason being is, we were because it's dangerous, because it's so much easier to be invisible, to stay under the radar, and to not speak up, because as long as the heat is on someone else, it's not on you. I am so proud to see over like the last year that so many more Asian people stepping up to say, this is not just about us. This is about the way, all people that are treated like second-class citizens. And it's time for us to show up for each other, to support each other, to find that sense of solidarity and empathy. Because honestly, we are never going to win. We are never going to win equality if we don't work together. It's like we have to present together. And, at the end of the day, when it comes to racists don't give a shit if you're Korean, if you're Chinese, if you're whatever. If you've got slanty eyes or brown skin, you're fucked. So let's all, let's take one from like like in action movies where it's like, let's not all attack all at one time. Let's just all crowd them together and be like, fuck this, let's change something.
It is true. It is so true, because that's one thing that I've been struggling with so much about. And I'm exactly what echo 100 billion% of the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, in witnessing that movement, seeing all my Black friends were being so vocal and vigilant and keep on going, and not knowing, I think about seeing how tired they were. Seeing how tired they were, and I was like, wow, and in some way it prepared me in knowing, yep, this is it. This is it. You have witnessed them how tired they were, and you have talked to them personally how tired they were. All my friends and they were still pushing on it. And they text me this round. It's like, you better take care of yourself. I know that you're fighting and being a warrior, but there's only so much you can give. And that knowledge has, I don't want to say prepare me, but it did prepare me.
Yeah. It inspires us, like helps us to find our courage, and what it also makes us realize is in following the Black Lives Matter movement and understanding that we're still waiting for results. We're still waiting for justice. We are in it for the long haul. And anyone who's under this fairy tale that one movie, one thing is suddenly that's the end of racism. The one thing I love about this time, even though it sucks because there's so much pain, is that before our solution to talking, to addressing racism is just not to talk about it, is to pretend that it's gone and nothing has happened. And now we're starting the conversation. And even though it may not be the most pleasant conversation, at the very least, it's like we're revealing our souls. We're cracking it open. We are taking off the mask, and we're gonna work on this hopefully together, And I don't want to feel like there's any fostering of animosity towards white people or animosity towards anyone. But what is very important is that we have to be willing to have these uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely.
And for us, we were just talking about this, how even between Asian people, it's really uncomfortable to have those conversations. So I'm very
and that's why I'm so grateful. And as soon as you show up on my live chat on the Stop Asian Hate, and you ask that question about, do you feel, other Asian are being more superior than the other? I was like, what do you mean, girl? Like, huh? And then knowing that, and you further explain, right, being an adoptee, and then I was like, and then I just saw another post by one of the tarot creator, Greg. I don't remember. I can never say his deck's name. It starts with a D. This whatever that is, and he basically, I don't want to have a similar experience as you. He's like, I think he's in Portland.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like
we're very close.
Yeah, I was like, I'm actually very comfortable. I choose to be in a white neighborhood or whatever, because sometimes I feel like I experience more Asian hate than the rest of the world. And I saw that post and I never thought of it. And then in a way, I'm like, yes, I did have experienced that's levelism or whatever, because I'm an FOB, I'm from Hong Kong or whatever.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'm already the second. Yeah, exactly. That right there. Thank you, Benabel. Don't know how to say it. Drax of old ghost poses.
Oh, Benbell, I saw. I was watching a little bit of your interview with her, with them.
So, and he experienced and saying that, I'm like, you know what? You are damn right. I experienced that also. Like I'm too Asian, but the upbringing of the idea of like, what else can you do? I don't know about you, because your household is white, or ex-household, whatever term that was. But what my mother and my father, even in China or even in Hong Kong, what else can you do? What else can you do? You just take a deep breath and have tough skin, and the best revenge is you're gonna be more successful than the other person, and that's all you can do. And that's ingrained in me, right? But at this time and age, and I just feel like if I keep saying that, I'm just, I'll just keep fighting racism. It's fine. The minute I get the Oscar, I can finally have my speech and say, I made it, watch me, right?
Yes.
But the idea of like, will I ever get the acceptance speech because of the system?
Yeah.
I might never know. I need to speak now. What if I never get on that Oscar stage and I never have that voice heard?
Yeah.
That's absurd. say something now, or like, and that's why I appreciate that movement with the Black Lives Matter, how vocal they are, in a way that I don't think I can ever be as vocal as them, but I am carefully knowing when I'm like deeply like, ugh, I can't hold my tongue anymore. I can't hold my tongue anymore. I gotta say something, and then I'm actually able to say something. It's.
I think that it depends. I think that you seem like someone, you try to adapt appropriately. You try to meet the situation with an appropriate reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you were put under heavy stress and it was really the darkest timeline, like the darkest times, I bet you'd be out there with a megaphone being like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Which is true.
But, I feel like the one thing that was, I'm sorry, this is like a little unrelated, but it is related. But I would say that the one thing that the biggest revelation that I had that empowered me the most as an Asian person, and it doesn't matter where you come from, how you were raised, but is the fact that nothing that we ever do will ever buy us white privilege. And the best thing that we can do, and white privilege being defined as being able to abstain without having any repercussions, consequences, or, just being able to remain neutral. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like a lot of the time that has been the problem, that we were sold this idyllic sort of American dream where if you work hard enough, if you make enough money, if you're successful enough, then somehow that equates to white privilege. And that is something none of us, no person that is not white, will ever be able to achieve. And we have to stop chasing that bag, and we have to start figuring out a way to work with what we got and to do the best we can together. I don't know. Anyway.
It is true. Like, secret gonna be out when you said that you are interested about my journey, because I'm so ingrained right now, so addicted to finding my past, my ancestor, my father's history and my mother's history. I am writing a play.
Yes.
So I am writing a play. I've done a couple workshops of it already. So I want to take, that's my baby out there. I don't know I will ever have an actual baby, and this is my child to put out into the world and leave my legacy behind, or whatever you want to call it. But it is genuinely inspiring to hear your point of view, especially with your struggle and your knowledge through your struggle. And that's where the beauty is. I feel like, my experience is valid. Your experience is valid.
Yeah.
And I am learning your experience, because I cannot claim your experience.
Yeah.
Yet there's an understanding right now in this time and space, and we can stand together and support each other. And I think it's beautiful, and it's hopeful.
I think that's beautiful too, and I am so excited. And I have to say, so me, like I do like sometimes see things like in my mind's eye and stuff. But I had a feeling you were going to do like a play or something, but I think it's going to be very successful. So, finish it. Okay. Focus in, finish it, because I think it's going to be something that's going to be profound. And I think that you are going to get some sort of success from it. So.
Oh, yes, mama. Oh, I'm excited. Okay. It's almost an hour and 30. I want to open up, because we always close this interview with questions. Hi everyone in there. I'm sorry that we have been so invested in talking, because it's so yummy and delicious. So I feel like I'm Oprah right now. This is like so.
As long as like we were saying, as long as you're not Diane Sawyer, that's fine.
As long as I'm not making you cry like Britney, then that's all that matters. So sorry that if we have ignore saying hi, or because we were so invested in the conversation. If you have any question regarding on the topic today, or if you have any question that you want to ask Nee or me, mostly you can ask Nee because I can have any Q&A anytime on my own channel.
No, ask him. Ask why, because he's opening up. So he already gave us a sneak preview of what he's working on.
I will have a sneak peek of what is coming up next. Maybe I should tell you. Should I check under your sofa for a gift item? You know what? Since we are talking about a gift item, I will give you a gift item right now, which is, I think, is pretty amazing. After this inspirational exchange, or before this inspirational exchange, when Nee agreed to come on my channel, I expect, like you said, Capricorn, just work. I have reached out to a couple of the Asian creators on YouTube, and I am going to show you. This is I don't want to say a gift because that's kind of self-centered.
It is a gift. I'm gonna say it for you. This is a gift.
So we have another episode of Why Ask next Friday, which will feature Miss Julie Rose from Peekaboo Rose. It will be next Friday. I don't remember the time. I think 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6 p.m. Central time. So that is next Friday. And then the following Friday will be Miss Kimberly, the creator of Weight of Panda Tarot deck, and her channel is Fables Den on YouTube, and she will be on Why Ask interview on the following Friday. So we have this Friday featuring the amazing Nee from the Immaterial Garden, and then we will have Julie for next Friday, and then the following Friday will be so that's that. So that might be my my gift for now for you all. And I'm planning to schedule 3 more so that the whole April, every week on my channel will feature one Asian/Asian American AAPI tarot YouTuber, tarot reader, creator, deck creator, whatsoever. And so the whole month we'll have all these amazing Asian yumminess delivered to you through YouTube land. And I hope, since Benabel is here, I'm gonna put her on the spot. And since Annika is here, I'm gonna put her on the spot. I hope that both of them may join me later on, and because I want to have a celebration at the end. We talk about experiences, we talk about our upbringing, we talk about our struggle, our tarot journey, and everything else. And I hope in May, the Asian AAPI Heritage Month, that we can all get together like a big celebration.
Like a Bravo reunion.
Yes, round table. Even though we don't have the Lazy Susan, and we will do a Lazy Susan. Like each of us will have a special flavor to bring to the big meal, the big banquet that we celebrate our Asianness, our beautiful representation do matter, and in any place on earth.
We'll call it the real Asians of America.
The real, I'm clacking that. Copyright.
Take it. It's
yours. The real Asians of America. The real Asians of tarot YouTube.
Tarot YouTube.
Asian of the tarot YouTube. I think. Oh, hi. We just mentioned you, Julie. So that will be next Friday with her. But yeah, that's my goal. That's my gift for you all. Every Friday we'll feature Asian YouTubers, and then in May, hopefully we'll find a day that everybody will be free and have a big celebration. We'll talk about whatever happy things or not happy things, and see where the Stop Asian Hate movement process by May. that will be super intriguing. Okay, so do you last minute? Do you have any questions that you want to ask? What's that? What's that? April. So all April Friday, hopefully Friday, or actually every week. Let's just say that every week. Every week will feature on my channel, on the WAI ASKS interview, will feature one Asian YouTubers, creators, whatsoever. And then in May, hopefully we'll have a big reunion, the real Asian of YouTubers, YouTube tarot tubers gala. And maybe we'll figure out a way to raise funding or whatever.
Oh, yes, we should do like a charity thing. We could also dress up.
Right? Right? I'm ready for a dress up. Like some celebration, you know.
I expect at least 3 outfit changes from you. like Beyonce at the Grammys.
But yeah, so one thing that I I'm just over talking now. When is our month? So the AAPI month is May. It's May. I'm pretty sure it's May's AAPI. The one thing that I want this series is I don't want to sound preachy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lecture. Mm-hmm. I don't feel comfortable because we are not experts.
Yeah.
We are not expert on. We are only expert because of our experiences, right? Mm-hmm. Our personal experiences, and I think by sharing, by sharing our unique personal experiences, you get a glimpse of who we are, and you can cultivate sympathy, general connection for a human being talking to you right now across this virtual space. We are not that different. We are saying there's blood in us. We all wish. Well, I don't know if we all wish for the same thing because we do have mean people, but in a way that we just want to live well. I think that's well said because we all want to live well. So if I can present a reasonable reason for us to all live together peacefully, I think that's all that matters, and that's what I'm doing here, to feature personal experiences so that you understand. Now you all have a deeper understanding of Miss Nee Flowers here. Is that your real last name?
No, it's not my last name.
No. If you don't have any question, let me go through. I don't think there's any question.
That's we've probably done. I'm so glad people stuck with us because we talked so much.
It's good. I hope people will watch it though. I hope people will watch it. Okay, so I always do this. The last 30 seconds is all you. It's all me. It's all you. Whatever you want to do. If you want to do a tarot reading, if you want to do a meditation, if you want to sit here, whatever you want to do, you have our full 100. What?
Let me show my water bottle. So I got this recently. This is the coolest thing. Like I've drank so much more water because it's flat. This is also great because if it goes in your bag, it just it lies flat. It's a spill proof. So this is great. They also have it in different colors and they have different styles. So that's someone just asked about it. So yes, it is awesome. So
are you using that 30 seconds to promote that water bottle?
Yes. Because we had such such a serious conversation. The other thing is, here's a little bit about my personality. So you were kind enough to send me like, the questions, or like some of the questions. So when one of the questions for fun, you had put for like skincare. So I'm gonna just end with my skincare thing, which is, I want to help everyone. This little brush here, okay, this is like a sonic facial brush. You can get any type you want, but this is the most amazing thing I have ever used on my skin. I use it every time I take a shower, so like every other day, every couple of days, and I'll just do like, it has a timer, it's like 2 minutes. It is amazing. Like, I don't wear any foundation, I don't wear anything on my skin except for eyeliner and lipstick. And if you like bare skin, this thing is like a plus. This thing is a necessity. Also, I would say like, I don't know, I just really think it's awesome. Anyway, I don't know why I had to end it there, but
I love it. I love it. I love it because we can always go to your channel, the Immaterial Garden, for
yes.
spiritual guidance. But
Yes.
you save your facial routine specifically for this interview.
Because, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. What is it? If you have a link, you have the
There's no affiliate link. I'm not doing it for any profit. It's for you, because honestly, like skincare, I just feel like if your face feels good, it just gives you so much more confidence to be able to like speak up, to be able to like bring attention to yourself. Sometimes, it's like, I know beauty, sometimes it seems like very like skin deep or very superficial. But if you think about it, when it comes to feeling good about the way you're presenting, it allows you and empowers you to get your message out without having to spend so much time processing, how do I look? How does, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you do need, please, if you do have a link, post it on the comment below, and I'll so that I can buy it. I don't have to like Google search it.
Also, the chest tattoo, this is actually a sigil. So I created my own sigil, and this is basically represents to me my spiritual path, my mission, the agreement that I made between spirit, God, source, the goddess, and myself. And it is to remind me of the work that I am here to do. Also, I like having tattoos that represent, like sorry, I hit my mic. Like you'll see like a lot of my tattoos, all of them represent a part of my spiritual journey, because I never want to be able to deny where I have been before, what I believed before, because it's only through those things, whether or not I still prescribe to them or I still believe in them, they are an important part of who I am and who I am now. Right.
So good. I'm so glad to get to know you. I honestly so glad we spent this hour and almost 45 minutes together on this topic, because I think people might just take you as a tarot reader doing weekly forecasts or reading, and not get the chance to actually know who you are. And I'm so grateful that people get to know who you are, because you are amazing.
I am so grateful to know you, my friend. Thank you so much for this wonderful work that you're doing, bringing us together, helping to empower, embolden, to make us laugh, to bring us joy. You are an absolute freaking treasure, and I cannot wait for your play to come out, okay? I'm so excited for you, so excited for the future.
Oh, thank you. Okay, everybody say bye to Nee right now.
Bye.
Bye, thank you. Remember to subscribe to her channel, and this is her link right there for her website. Everything will be there. Is the Immaterial Garden. So love you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so hi, I'm back. Remember, next Friday is Miss Julie over at the Peekaboo Rose. Next Friday, we'll have to do an WAI ASKS interview with her. It's not live yet, but after I finish this, I will, because I don't want to confuse people, right? To do that live. And then the following week on April 9th, we have Kimberly from Fables Den. I think I spelled it wrong. Is it Fables Den, right? D-E-N? I'm pretty sure it's D-E-N. Oh, geez. Mary Louise Parker, like that. The following Friday, and then I'm trying to get Annika on it. Annika, you are watching right now. I'm trying to get you on it, so then maybe I'll get couple more. I'm thinking about maybe Casper. I think that would be if Casper over at the boy diviner over there, if you're watching this, I'm interested in interviewing you. I'll DM you. And then one more, and maybe Pamela of the unicorn tarot. The what is that? The unicorn. So that's it for now. So look forward to every week. There will be more Asian yumminess bringing your way, and I hope you stay safe, love each other, enjoy your weekend coming up next, and thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I don't know which way anymore. Have a great week, and boop. Bye.